I want to ask, what drives you to push so hard?
That's an interesting one. So for me, I'm actually going to quote former South African President Nelson Mandela. He said, "It's only impossible until it's done." And I think for me, the biggest motivator is when I get people telling me it's not possible. So let's look at Binance USDT listing, for example. We had so many trolls coming in and be like, "Hey, that'll never happen. You guys will never get it listed." And for me, I'm like, this just adds into the excitement of when it finally happens, like the big bang, like, whoa, he did it, we did it. It's crazy. And for me, I guess it's just changing my mindset. I view all the naysayers as encouragement. It makes me want to do it more, it pushes me harder. It's not about proving anyone wrong. It's just about proving that, if we stick together and we focus on building the project, anything is possible. And I think that's been proven over this past year with all the new listings and integrations and the ones coming up.
In your opinion, what is the goal of PIVX as far as you understand in your own words?
I think for the goal of PIVX, firstly, there's everyone's personal goal, which I think what PIVX, because it's a DAO, it's a decentralized project, everyone's goal aligns with the goal of PIVX too. But for me, I think the goal of PIVX is to provide a tool that everyone is able to use, basically a complete democracy of a tool that anyone can use to provide a form of privacy to their transaction, and that form of privacy could just be to avoid advertisers. Everyone has their own use case. And then on top of that, I think also because of PIVX's low fee and also the very quick block time, I think another utility is made to be to push cryptocurrencies a full e-commerce payment method, right? And I think that's the two biggest things for me when it comes to PIVX.
Yeah, I think PIVX really solves those problems. In my opinion, crypto should be more of a tool rather than an identity, or a verb rather than a noun.
Yeah, I agree. For me, it's a tool, and it's about, everyone has their own personal use for it. And for me, like I said, if I'm using privacy, it's because I fear that there could be some malicious parties monitoring my transactions, and I don't feel comfortable about that. It's the same thing when you think about a bank balance. That's why I always oppose people who are like, privacy is for criminals. So I'm like, okay, well, everyone's got a bank. Most people have a bank account, right? Not everyone. I know in my country, a lot of people are unbanked. So if you think about it, it's like, okay, you have this bank balance. Does your wife know your bank balance? Does your mother? Does your father? Does your siblings? Most people don't share that. Yet we're somehow comfortable using a public blockchain that everyone can associate you with, and all your transactions are there. Like, doesn't that scare you? And that's a question I always ask them. Like, doesn't that actually scare you? Sure, you can mix stuff around, move stuff around, but at the end of the day, you're going to transact with that, and someone's going to link like, hey, this guy's got $10,000 and he lives in this country, and they might be out there targeting those people. PIVX solves that. At the same time, while solving that, it also provides so many use cases, and you can transact with it. So you can essentially be private and live off of PIVX as a digital finance. It's basically a financial instrument if you want. But obviously, it depends on everyone's use case.
Yeah, to bring in another quote, C.S. Lewis once said, "Indeed, the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts." As in to say that an outcome in a future that is not necessarily what people want can sometimes be just by tiny little compromises, such as when it comes to privacy. Before you know it, we're making Orwell seem like a prophet.
Yeah, and we don't want that. Like, I've had my own personal share of crime, and for me, my use case is saving myself. Everyone has their own. And just by giving up small senses of your privacy, look at it now. And now if you want to be private, people assume you're a criminal, and that's the way it's going to go if no one fights for their privacy.
No, it's unacceptable. It definitely. Apple recently put out a YouTube video, or not recently, but they put out a couple over the years talking about privacy, because that's a point that they made about their phones. And I suggest anyone listening to check those out, because it's not just the small guys that are talking about privacy. It's those guys too. I want to ask, the original goal of Bitcoin, Satoshi, crypto was what? And what do you think of this in comparison to where crypto is at today?
So Bitcoin, in my idea, was meant to be a private, alternative, decentralized digital cash. One that everyone, the unbanked, no matter your skin color, religion, region, could access. Obviously, everyone has different views, The way crypto is going right now is way past that in good ways and bad. We have meme coins who have absolutely no use case whatsoever other than to make people rich. And I think the most identifying goal of many projects as well as people is just a quick rich get rich quick scheme. And that to me is not what Bitcoin was created for. Even the founder himself, Satoshi Nakamoto, he didn't think it would be worth a lot. If you read some of his forum posts, he just provided a tool, an alternative for those who wanted it. And crypto today is not doing that. It's gone past that. It's now, it's everyone's anti fiat until they want to cash out their crypto. Let's say that.
That's a good response. That's true. That is very true. Oh man, you're popping off with great answers today. I love it, Jeffrey. I'm just thinking of all the ways you're quotable. Like, this is fantastic, man. Let's keep it up. This is so good. So good.
Thank you. I'm ready for the next one.
Hell yeah. A lot of people have perceptions of crypto that may not be true. Could you speak on some of these perceptions, maybe?
Sure. Do you have any examples that you want to highlight so that I can breach off of that?
Yeah, like for instance, it's all criminal, or it's just stocks, but like just robbery stocks essentially, or crypto's just a fad.
Okay, I got a good one. I got a good one. So, okay, well, we've got two. So the one is, a lot of people always tell me when I tell them about crypto. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not saying buy crypto, but I'm saying, hey, this tool's out here. And everyone, this comment I get quite a lot, and they always tell me I can't touch it, so it's not real. Like, my money's not here. And then I'm like, okay, well, neither is your fiat that lost the gold backing in 1971. It's just based on imagination that we give it value. Then again, crypto is backed by mathematics and hardware. It's really freaking expensive. That's the misconception people have, that it's just digital money that anyone can create. And that's not it. It's, if you get to the backing of it, crypto has its code that is set in stone. It's got its limitations, its emission rates. It's got the mining of proof of stake or proof of work, or the other various methods. There's a lot that goes into creating this. And to me, I think if you look it up, it's more expensive to mine crypto than it is to create fiat currencies. And fiat is just backed. I'm not even going to answer it, but you tell me what it's backed by in versus crypto. Which one's got higher value? But yeah, that's a big misconception. But I think it also stems to a lot of people, like in South Africa, there's a lot of scams, and people always assume it's a scam. And I think that also comes from London, when they put their $10 in and they're like, oh, it didn't double by 12 p.m. What the heck? This is a scam. It works like any other trading instrument. The price is based on the demand and supply, right? And people aren't really aware of that. They just assume that it's a quick get rich quick scheme. And I think that comes from all these scams that have come out. Our friend, BitConnect, like all these guys, they've become famous. Oh yeah, I mean, he's a legend. I still watched. He did some recent YouTube videos of he was doing fasting and breathing. Obviously, I don't know, but
what do you think when people say like criminals and dark web people? In regards to crypto, like people think, oh, it's just primarily for criminal activity and like deep web or dark web.
Well, I'm going to answer this. Most people I know that are in crypto don't even know how to access the dark web. What does that say?
Oh.
So yeah, it's, I think to say, then you need to look at the FBI stats. How much money laundering, what is it done with? Most of it's done with USD. Drug purchases, arms deals, it's done with USD. I haven't heard of, let's go meet up and do a Bitcoin illicit transaction. I myself have never used the dark web for any type of transactions. I've never had the need for it. Obviously, people have their own need. But even the dark web, people make it so dark. There's not everything illegal there. Google's on the dark web. There's search engines on the dark web. Some people just prefer a further addition of privacy. I can't really relate. I haven't found a need for it. I don't live in a country that really scrutinizes my internet activities, like and logs my stuff and maybe sells it. I'm not sure of the extent of it, but I don't feel as fearful, to use more than a VPN, right? But I think some people have different cases. I think to say it's all for criminals is very far-fetched, because I've been here in crypto since almost 10, 11 years now. And most people I know probably could not even access Tor browser, even if you gave them a few steps.
What do you think about people who say it's unpredictable it's too unpredictable to be a useful tool?
I think that they haven't had much experience with it. They're from outside. It's like learning a new language. You feel you're not going to do it until you start doing it. Same with riding a bicycle. It seems impossible, and then you do it. Going back to my quote when we just started this. So it is unpredictable in terms of pricing. You never know. Right now we currently all waiting with bated breath on the Ethereum ETF, and that's sending the markets haywire at the moment. So yeah, those type of things, any celebrity or government organization with power, like especially the United States of America's government, they can make an announcement that sends the price crazy. But I mean, everything else with crypto, it's more provable than cash. Someone sends you a bank transfer and sends you proof of payment, but you haven't received it in your bank yet. Now you got to wait maybe a day or two to clear it. With crypto, that once you send your address, someone sends you money and they said they've sent, they cannot lie. You can verify on the blockchain. It's as predictable as it gets. I think it's safer. You can immediately verify. I'm not a financial advisor, but as far as usability and the use cases, that's predictable. You know what you're doing, and you can confirm receipt of the crypto and whatnot.
Well, and to add to that, when a market cap is larger, essentially when there's more people invested into a coin, the less erratic it is because there's a larger pool. So it takes that much more to have erratic movement. So if it was hypothetically mass adopted, just like a cash would be in a country, singular cash, it wouldn't have that rapid, unpredictable movement like we see in a lot of coins.
Yeah, that's a pattern we see now in this 2024 versus 2017. 2017, there wasn't much adoption. China would ban Bitcoin next week, then unban it the week after, and the price drops 50%. Now those announcements kind of happen, and it just swings past with the 1%. As more people adopt the crypto standard, that's a nice term that I like to use, the crypto standard, because to me it will become the standard, in my opinion, of transacting and moving data. So I think when we get to that point, I think price, it's not that it's predictable in saying that it's going to go up all the time or go down all the time, but it will be less likely to be absolutely go haywire. Suddenly you invest $100, you blink your eyes and it's 37, like 2017.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But I think as crypto becomes bigger, we're going to see less of that in the bigger coins for sure. Do you think crypto has lost its way, or do you think we are on the right course? I know this is very subjective, but I wanted to hear, what Jeffrey thinks.
Okay, so crypto has, let's just say it's opened many new ways. Before it was a tool that Satoshi Nakamoto envisioned, and then characters like Vitalik Buterin came along. He thought of smart contracts, and then other people came along and thought of NFTs on Ethereum, and then eventually on other blockchains. So many people have. That's the beauty of this. It's a tool that's open source. So whatever idea I have or you have, we can essentially put this into the blockchain and create our own vision that other people want to adopt. So I think it stayed on course to provide an alternative, but now it's becoming an alternative to everything. And that's how powerful blockchain is and how crypto is. And I think that's great. We see the creativity. We see, a small idea of his has branched out into so many things. I don't know if he thought of NFTs or whatever, what we're currently doing. Sure, there's a lot of coins with no other use cases, but the fact that those still exist and people are willing to trade them, and that's still awesome. So I think that the path that crypto is taking right now, it's great. There's a lot of regulation coming in. There's a lot of new ideas coming in, and there's so many new use cases, remittance, and more. I mean, I see people even doing some form of verifying identities and whatnot through blockchain. I think that's a safer way. Obviously, I'm not really indulged in that to know much more, but I'm seeing so many more use cases. So I think we're on the right path.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I think a lot of inventions started as one thing, and they became much larger than what their original intent was, and added to society. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I agree, man. I think that crypto evolving in its various directions, because now we have different types of crypto for different purposes. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think that's a beautiful thing. It's funny because it's almost like watching AI be implemented and grow and evolve. It feels like AI growing. It feels kind of akin to watching crypto grow. It's growing bigger and bigger and almost exponentially into something much more.
And as the years go by, even faster. Developments that took like a year back in 2014-15 is now taking place over weeks. So it's crazy to think what it's going to be like. I think the crypto we know today will be completely different in a year from now.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to our dev team, because they are definitely amongst those people. They are champions.
Yeah, creators, and there are a lot of industry first in PIVX, and so big shout out to them for sure.
How do you think PIVX is different than other cryptocurrencies?
There's a lot of aspects to that. I think one thing is the human touch. When you come into PIVX, being a DAO, there is no head person or someone holding pre-mined coins that dictates everything. Anyone who's anyone can just come in and provide a skill set and be like, hey, I can open a proposal and people potentially support or not support them. There's a complete democracy and then a metocracy, sorry, within the system of PIVX. And I think that's great because it's not, I'm trying to think of the right word, but it's not cut off. Like it's a complete system where it's for the people, by the people. And I think that's really good. And it allows us to meet a lot of interesting people. It introduces the team to various new skilled people, such as yourself that recently came in. If PIVX didn't have the DAO approach, it would be quite hard to bring in new people as awesome as you. And that's one key thing I think that's great about PIVX. I think people used to call it way back, correct me if I'm wrong, it might have been called the purple factor. But I think Snappy Snap coined that term a few years ago, where it's like, the way the PIVX community is. And yeah, for me, that differentiates quite a lot. And the fact that, optional privacy, I like that they've stuck to that because a lot of people, for various purposes, maybe even accounting purposes, to keep track of their spending and whatnot, to keep it completely transparent, makes it a lot easier. So having that freedom of choice and that freedom of being able to join and take part and actually go and, come to a person who's got a role at PIVX, like, hey, I don't like what you're doing. Maybe you should do it this way. And then they can vote based on that. I think that's really awesome. It sets PIVX aside from the other players.
It's such a bigger picture thing because it leaves room for lawmakers and anyone else. But at the same time, like you said, for accounting and all of that, it gives a wider array of tools for a wider array of people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just growing so much more. Like we look at the PIVX labs, where they've been voting in a proposal and they've just developed my PIVX wallet. We've got PIV cards. Like it's great when a community comes together and you see so much more creations, even if it's not directly on the blockchain or let's say on the main net, it's just using the actual blockchain, using PIVX as a whole. We see that and that's really great. It's more use cases. And that's the power of community and promoting that DAO-based community project.
100%. Well, in light of that, what do you think specifically, what are some of the things you think PIVX does really well?
Really well, I think right now, marketing. I think that we're trying new things and we're always really creative. We work with our partners, we work with our new integrations, and that's really cool. Once again, it goes with that human touch where we can work with our friends at Travalo, our friends at ChangeNow or Binance, whatever, to create some awesome content together and we can create some maybe giveaways or whatever. So I think PIVX is doing really well with that. On top of that, we have our development team. So we've got a V6 release coming out and our devs are hard set on that. But at the same time, they're not just restricting themselves to that. They're helping out at the PIVX labs to produce things such as PIVX rewards, which reminds me back of 2014, 2013 with, faucets getting your free Bitcoin. And now they've created this where you can actually, get some PIVX so you can trial the network and join it. And you can also invite friends and maybe get a bit extra. And I think that's really good to create these opportunities for everyone because you don't need someone to buy $1,000 of crypto. You just want to introduce them to it, and as they go along with it, it'll be of great interest to them to try all the features, and that's it. This makes it possible. So I think that's what PIVX is really doing great, in my opinion.
Yep, 100%. On the flip side of things, I gotta ask, what do you think PIVX could do better?
That's tricky. You see, my side, because PIVX is getting so big, I mostly focus on my work. But I think what PIVX needs to do better is there needs to be, because it's a DAO and there's no head person per se, a boss. Sometimes communication can lack, where we aren't aware of what everyone's doing, and we might step on each other's toes. So I think internally that would be the only issue I identify. However, on every other aspect, I think PIVX is doing really well. And once communication is improving, everyone's on ball as a team, I think we can do many more great things together. Yeah, and I think also it creates a sense of responsibility. Like I don't want to let down my friends and my fellow colleagues.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. 100%. I never want to let you down, Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying my best with this, guys. I'm holding my composure so I don't let you down on your first show.
Cue the Rickroll video here.
Yeah, I'm having fun. This is great.
I have just two more questions here. One, I wanted to ask you if maybe you could give advice to any new people that are coming into crypto that are listening to this right now.
Okay, most important when it comes to crypto, if anyone is promising you gains or promising you a form of a percentage, they're lying to you. Many have learned from this book.
100%. Yes.
Don't believe them. Nothing in this world is guaranteed. And I think that you need to look at the people who are promising you a tool, who are promising you something as an alternative, who are promising you to come and experience this with them or try crypto out and see the use cases. You know, those are the friends you want. But if you have these guys who are like, hey, come buy this, you're going to make some money. Yeah, that's not going to work in your favor. There's many before you that have learned, and unfortunately, there'll be many after you that's going to do that too. But then another part is, when there's so many cryptos out there, back when I was in crypto, PIVX used to be in the top 10 on CMC because there even wasn't that many. I think, wow, there was probably less than 100 cryptos or less than 50 even. And now we have probably 10,000 plus. I think on some blockchains, there's a new token created every few minutes. Most likely all are scams. So when it comes to crypto, there's so many choices. I think you need to just be patient and take the time to research these projects. Don't just buy or use or try support them. Join their discords or their telegrams and research the company behind the exchange as well. Research the coin, see the team, and invest personally as well as before financially. I think that's the biggest thing I can say. And then just be cautious. Don't invest what you can't afford to lose. And at the same time, some people, for them, this is just to make money. But at the same time, for some people, this is money. So when they're investing, they're using this to spend, to live off it. So identify your use case, be safe, don't trust, verify, and most of all, join the community. Everyone's friendly. If they're not friendly, leave that community. Full stop.
Also, I would add, if someone DMs you a link, never press it. Ever. Don't.
Oh,
it doesn't matter
never,
if it seems
never.
like the coolest, best thing ever. Don't press it. From one click.
Literally. And the thing that sucks is a lot of people, the scammers, they use your username. They use the username of a team member. So when they DM me, you're like, oh, this is so legit. It's so nice. The admin DM me. No, that is a safety practice that I think every crypto group now does. No one DMs first. No one privately messages you first. So if they have, don't trust them.
Or ask them to message you on a different platform where if this was a hacked account, you know that the other account, it may not be hacked, and it's that much more likely. It's almost like your own setup two-factor authentication.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, just most of all, be cautious and don't be scared to ask questions. When you feel unsafe from something or someone's messaged you privately, just post in the community, hey, this guy messaged me. Crypto is fun. I think there's a lot to learn from it. There's a lot of exciting things happening: gaming, NFTs, privacy, trading, atomic swaps. There's so many things that people have to learn. So it's, just enjoy the ride. There's a lot to learn, and there will always be more to learn. So don't feel like you are going too slow, because by the time we finish with this call, there's probably something new being worked on, and we got to learn about that too.
Well, I'm convinced. I'm going to join crypto. Now that I'm going to join crypto, I'm unsure what cryptocurrency to join. Now, do you have advice for those unsure whether to choose PIVX or something else? Any advice or tips when it comes to joining PIVX or choosing a coin that gels with them?
Okay, so it depends on your use case. And I'm not going to go ahead and say join this because it's cheap, because that's not my use case. So, when you're joining PIVX, you need to look at, let's say if you look into the advantages of it. So let's say if you did join PIVX, okay, and you bought yourself some PIVX. Let's say the price actually went up a bit, and that's really awesome. The nice thing is by PIVX is there's so many use cases that you don't need to cash out to another crypto to be able to spend or enjoy your crypto. You can go on Travala, you can book a flight to wherever. You can come and book me a flight to say thank you for me telling you about PIVX. I don't mind. You can go on Coinsbee and buy some gift cards. You can go on PIV cards, buy some gift cards I think on PIV cards right now for South Africa, you can pretty much live in the country. You can pay for everything except your rent, like absolutely everything, using PIVX and PIV cards, which is freaking amazing.
Wow.
So that to me is an awesome feature. When I look at a crypto, I want to be able to use it. For me, it's not just about buying it and switching it straight to fiat. And then I look at the big players as well. I look at the innovators. I look at obviously Bitcoin. I'm not a maxi. What we call maxis, people who believe, altcoins are trash. So an altcoin is an alternative to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the main one. I don't believe that. There's always got to be competition. Every single one introduces different things. And if you're after privacy, Bitcoin is not for you. But if you're after the original, the grandfather of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is the one. And yeah, so I think just research what you want to do. PIVX for me has everything. So I can use it. I can live off of it. I can stake it. I can run masternodes. And I can trade it on most major exchanges. So for me, that's all my green ticks. I know that it suits what I'm looking for. And I'm going to use that same benchmark that PIVX has set to identify other coins or tokens that I'm interested in too.
Yeah, likewise. I think PIVX meets all my needs as well. I just want to get it out there more because I think it's kind of a hidden gem that the crypto world and outside the crypto world hasn't fully entirely seen yet, and I'm excited to get it out there. But speaking of getting out there, I know that you're a busy guy. I know that you gotta go hit the streets some more. I appreciate you a ton, man. Thank you so much for doing this interview. You are a champion.
Thank you so much. I mean, and thanks to everyone else listening to me being nervous. I promise you, I'm normally more confident than this. Just Horch is such a good speaker. I'm trying to level up to his level. But thanks for having me on the call, and I appreciate all the questions and the interest. Obviously, there's so much more to learn about PIVX. So to anyone listening, come join our social channels. Follow, listen. I'm sure Horch is going to tell you all about that. But thank you again.
Yeah, so guys, if you are interested in PIVX after this, go to pivx.org to check out our website. We have a new join up page. You can also see our Discord. Find it at discord.pivx.org. And finally, check out our official PIVX page on Twitter at _PIVX_PIVX. And you connect with us there. Have a wonderful day and keep it purple. See you later.